It's a monster. It's so heavy.
It's very heavy, yes. It was so heavy we had to get a new stand for it.
This episode is brought to you by Gator cases and KickBlock. Hey, welcome back to another rundown. Jared James here, and I'm beyond pleased and happy to be with Brandon Zackey of Whitechapel. What's going on, dude?
What's up? Pleasure being on.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
Of course, yeah.
Saw you in Nashville last night. Ears are still ringing. It's really rad to just see Whitechapel continue to like push like the technicality and like musicianship and just like the musicality of deathcore. And like you've been a huge part of that in this like last couple years.
Yeah.
What's it been like kind of getting in there and grinding it out?
Honestly, it's been great. You know, the band has been really welcoming and have given me a lot of freedom so far, you know. I wasn't really sure what to expect, like when we went into the writing process on the new album and stuff, like whether they were going to have the parts mapped out or whatever. But honestly, everything they had, you know, maybe some skeletal parts here and there, but overall I was able to kind of just do my thing with it. And I know their intent was with the newest album to keep it very, you know, kind of back to the roots and super heavy. So I tried to keep it a little more bare bones. I didn't want to get like too over the top proggy with it. I wanted everything to be kind of crushing and heavy, but I still have some fun kind of fun licks and stuff here.
And in terms of kind of like approaching the music that is there, there's obviously a lot of fans that this music means a lot to them, so you have to get up there and honor that every night. So kind of your process of approaching that.
Yeah, that is interesting because Whitechapel has had several drummers. All of them are very good, you know? So for me, it's like kind of how do I approach the old songs and do justice with them to where you're listening to them, it still sounds like the old song, but then also still keep my own kind of flavor in there. So I'm kind of always trying to balance that out, you know? So there's some parts that I play pretty much exactly as the album on the old songs. And then there's other parts where I kind of add some of my own zazz, you know? So.
Yeah, and it's very zazz, right? Because you come from like a drum corps marching band background. So you hear that stuff. And I think that's like, for drum nerds, it's cool to hear that stuff in such extreme music.
Yeah.
Because it's refreshing.
I'm trying to kind of keep more of that in there, you know? And for me, it's not even necessarily like a conscious thing sometimes. It's like, it's so ingrained in my vocabulary that when I go to play something, that's what comes out sometimes.
Right. And I know that you famously were a part of the Blue Devils group, and you're actually the second drummer now that I've had in short order that was part of the Blue Devils, because I sat with Chad Sexton of 311, and it was an interesting conversation of talking about how marching and drum corps like informed so much of his stuff, all the way down to how he hits a snare. It's like an iconic thing. So what kind of thing do you think that stands out the most that you bring to deathcore from the marching band world?
I mean, I would like to think dynamics in the fills, you know?
Sure.
Like, I feel like not just dynamics, but also I try to kind of break up the fills a little bit more. So I'm trying to not do too much. I mean, it happens still sometimes where I do like, you know, 4 on each drum or whatever, but I'm trying to kind of mix in like paradiddles and different kind of roll patterns and some flams and stuff here and there, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a unique kind of flavor to all the fills.
Yeah.
And some grooves too. I use a different flam work in the grooves and stuff too. Sometimes I'll use it to kind of like cheat a blast beat, you know, I'll use like flam taps or flam accents or something, but then also sometimes I'm doing grooves that are made of like paradiddles or flams and stuff like that to actually bring a unique sound to the groove too, not just imitate a blast beat, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And that's one of the parts that I love the most about kind of what you're doing in Whitechapel, is taking that genre forward and even pushing that kind of extreme music that just has this like brutality kind of on the surface, but when you get into the musicality, it's like there's so many layers of like technical stuff that's happening that I think that's what people are locking in on.
Yeah, for me it's a fine line between keeping it still like heavy and crushing, but also subtle enough to where it's still interesting, you know what I mean? Because for me it's like, if I'm just playing like a blast beat and then I just do like single fills, I get super bored super quickly, you know? So I'm trying to keep it interesting for myself and for the audience, but still maintain that intensity, you know?
Yeah, so I think it's working. It's a great balance. And I guess just to follow that up with the inverse of that, what is something that you've learned from playing extreme kind of deathcore music that you maybe surprised you?
For me, I had to work a lot on like my single strokes, you know, because in the marching world is a little bit more roll based, so doing more like double strokes. So I had to work a lot on singles, especially like the endurance. You know, and I had before, I mean, I started on drum set and I played metal before, but the difference is, you know, in a metal song, I'm pretty much playing single strokes for like, you know, several minutes straight, you know what I mean? Like, you know, playing a blast beat or something. So for me, it was a lot of work to kind of get the endurance to keep that going. And I feel like I'm still kind of working on it. Not quite where I want to be on that kind of stuff. So I think that's kind of been the biggest thing. It's just getting like the endurance to play that every single night consistently for a whole set.
Right.
So
because you got to get up here and burn, and it's fast and it's intense.
Exactly.
For like a long time.
Yeah.
That set is like long.
Yes. Yeah. Especially this set, it's like I feel like I'm playing like a million notes a night, pretty much.
Yeah, we should get a stroke counter up here and just be like, just runs out of digits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, there was something that was at the center of the set last night that was bringing in the dynamics and the musicality, and it's something that just stuck out. It's the snare. There's such a like warm brutality to it, but it's still just so brutal. Talk to me about this awesome snare drum.
Yeah, so this is a custom snare built by Nostra drums / Brisbane drums out of Australia.
So cool.
Yeah, and it's honestly, it's great. You know, we got custom little Craig mask, custom Whitechapel logo on it, all sorts of bells and whistles. But it's a 14 by 6.5, 3mm cast bronze shell. And then it also has cast bronze hoops on it as well.
It's a monster. It's so heavy.
It's very heavy. Yeah, it's probably like 25 pounds. I think we weighed it. And then also, it was so heavy we had to get a new stand for it because the stand I had before wasn't cutting it, so we had to get a new stand. And also, the funny kind of stories. So I had them ship it to my house. I live in California, and when I went to fly out to Knoxville for rehearsals and stuff, I had to carry it around the airport and stuff. I carried it on, and my forearms were just stripped from carrying this like 25-pound drum everywhere. So yeah,
you need like a day of recovery before rehearsal just because you carried on your snare drum.
I need a stand or a case with wheels on it for sure. Yeah.
Meet the Groove Series drum hardware cases from Gator. 2 sizes, 1 mission. Choose the 33 by 15 inch case for compact setups and tight car spaces. Need more room? The 42 by 16 inch model carries longer stands, no hardware breakdown required. Move how you groove. The compact case features a smooth telescoping handle and molded side grips. The larger size steps up with a built-in pole handle and spring-loaded lift handles that stop at 90 degrees for ergonomic carrying. Tough on the outside, smart all around. These cases use weather-resistant rotational molding for lightweight strength, while interlocking channels let you stack them with your other grooves gear like a pro. Heavy-duty 2-inch straps with high-tension buckles keep everything sealed tight, and rubber inline wheels make load ends feel like a breeze. The Groove Series from Gator. Let your hardware ride in style.
So how do we have it dressed up? We have an Evans HD Dry.
HD Dry on
I
there.
love this head so much.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's been a staple for me. I used the, kind of speaking of the marching world, I used the Evans Hybrid for a while.
Okay.
Which is the Kevlar one.
Yeah.
And I actually really like that head, but for me, that head, it's like unbreakable, right? It lasts forever, but it gets dead really fast.
Okay.
So I would prefer to use these and then change them more often than put the hybrid head on there and change it like one time a tour, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think we're changing this every maybe 3 to 5 shows.
Okay. So like, I mean, you're like, and you know, we mentioned you play 1 million notes a show, so that's actually pretty good mileage when you think about it.
Yeah, true. And I'm trying to, you know, I rim shot everything I can too, so I'm hitting it pretty hard. I'm not just up here like tapping it, you know?
Yeah, there's some heftiness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. And Rezo on the bottom, what do you got?
I believe this is the Evans Snare Side 300. I have to look under it. But
right.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is.
Very cool. And in terms of snares, just kind of standard?
These,
or use, thick boys?
These are the, what are they called? The Pure Sound?
Yeah.
The guy over at Brisbane Drums put these on there. And I mean, I don't know if there's a way we can show the inside of it later, but it also has a saw blade my name on it.
The saw is the law.
Yeah. So he
cool.
honestly knocked it out of the park. And I honestly didn't give them really any info. You know, they kind of asked me what I wanted, and I was like, honestly, just do your thing with it. He sent me like a little kind of mock-up of it, and I was like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And that was it. You know, so this is like basically the first draft of what the drum ended up being, and yeah, I couldn't be more happy with it.
Yeah, it looks sick.
Yeah.
And it is just surrounded by the coolest kit. We got a Mapex. Talk to me about this kit.
Yeah, so this is a Mapex Saturn Evolution. This is the maple walnut version. So they have two. They have the maple walnut and the birch walnut. At home, I actually have the birch walnut, but we wanted the maple for live. It was just kind of a personal preference of the band.
And is that a tonal preference?
Yeah. I think because in the past they had maple kits, so I think they just kind of wanted to stick with it. But with these, the Saturn Evolutions, they don't make just like a pure maple version. So And honestly, the walnut is nice. I feel like it adds a little bit of some attack to it, you know. So.
Yeah, so it's not all warmth. There's a little punch and a little crack. Yeah, because it has to keep up with this thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is awesome. And I see Evans G2s on the tops and G1s on the bottom. That's like a pretty tried true, like, it's a great sound.
Yep, I've tried a lot of the Evans stuff. I think we had the EC2S. Those are the ones with like the stripe, right?
Yeah.
And I've used the black chromes. I've used the UV2s. And I kind of keep coming back to the G2s. You know, there's just something, like you were saying, it's tried and true, you know?
Yeah, right. I mean, you put these on, you get them tuned up right, and,
Yeah.
you know, they sing.
Yes.
And they're durable. I mean, yeah, they're going to last.
Yep.
Just a little overtone control, I see.
Yeah, we're using the Evans little, I don't know what the names of these are, red.
Yeah, these the gel
Dots.
guys. And I love that they come in different sizes. I think that's really
Yes.
cool, so you don't have to kind of cut them and stuff, and you can get a little bit more nuance with it, because I see you kind of have one here, maybe two here, and a big and a small.
Yeah,
I love that.
we got some on the bottom of
that
the
functionality.
floor toms too, so
Cool.
using it to control some of the sustain.
Yeah.
As far as the sizes go for the drums,
Yeah.
toms 10, 12, 16, 18, and then the
Right.
kicks are 22s. So
Cool. The ever popular 10-inch rack tom.
yeah,
Do you struggle with the 10, or are you good?
I honestly wanted to switch to an 8 eventually.
Okay.
I love an 8, so I'm kind of like trying to think about that, but yeah, 10's fine.
Would you go
dude.
8-10? Or would you
On the
shoot
album?
8?
On the album, I used 8/12.
Okay.
I kind of like the separation there, because then it gives me.
You want more
Yeah.
distance between the tones?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
And just something about the 8 has a nice kind of attack to it, and articulation.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, it's more of a square, right? It's more of a boxy drum.
yeah.
Cool. And in terms of the kick drum, I see a UV EQ4.
Yes. That was not necessarily a choice. It's just what we had.
Okay.
We already had these in the
Sometimes you
practice
gotta make
space.
it work.
Yeah, so we already had them, but I kind of prefer these to all of them. They're really nice, the EQ4s. So I think I'll probably stick with them
Yeah.
for the future.
Is there something specific that you're finding that you like about them?
I like the EMAD. I feel like the muffling on the outside is nice, but I end up it almost ends up being too muffled sometimes
Right.
for me. So I like that it's not muffled, but I feel like the coating kind of gives it a little bit of some control too.
Right.
And as far as, but without it needing a whole layer of muffling on the outside of it.
Sure, yeah. I think it seemed to be, at least last night in the room, kind of bringing these drums into that like kind of warm tonal family that you had going on with the kit.
When we're triggering them,
Yeah.
but there's not too much muffling in it. There's like one pillow in each bass drum, so it's still pretty open sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still moving a lot of air.
Yes.
Very cool. I think that gets it done for the kit. Let's run around these awesome Zildjian cymbals, man. We can go left to right,
Yeah,
right to left,
so-
small to top, small to big.
Over here we have a 18-inch A custom EFX.
Nice.
Yeah, this is a FX stack. I believe this is 16 inches.
Yeah.
But no, these are great. You can stack them. Right now I have it kind of like a hi-hat
Yeah.
this way, but you can also stack them like this.
Right.
I prefer the hi-hat way. It's a little more articulate. When you have it like this, it gives it a little bit more of like some
A little more like a
sustain
clap
to it.
stack
Yeah.
in that way.
So yeah, I love it, this thing. Right here we have the K custom hybrid hats. Love these things.
Yeah, so good.
I think they're some of the best hi-hats around. Like honestly,
Ks are my favorite,
Yes.
man. Just so good.
they're very controlled. No kind of like abrasive overtones, high or too dark. Everything's just kind of in a nice mid-range. Works. I feel like you can use this for like any style of music.
Yeah, very versatile, and they're fun to play. There's like a silkiness when you hit them that kind of like you just can't get it from anything else.
Definitely. Right here we have the K Custom Dark Crash, 18-inch.
Nice.
Yeah, this is nice. So I have like, I don't know if you noticed, I have a mix. This is like a Custom, I believe this is a 19-inch projection crash.
Yeah, you got like A-land and K-land.
Yes, a little brighter, a little bit darker. I try to kind of like keep a little bit of mix of sounds. I don't like everything to be too bright, and I also don't want everything to be too dark. So sometimes I'll be riding on this a lot of time, having it cut through, and then I use this for kind of like accents and just to kind of mix in some different tones in there.
Well, that's cool, because I've had a couple rundowns recently where there's a lot of symmetry happening, and it's like I want an 18 here and an 18 here, two of the same thing on both sides, so that I have options to go, and when the composition leads me over here, I have the same tone. So do you feel that having a dark side, light side kind of informs your composition, or is that just kind of like where you like things for a tone you go this way?
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I've never really thought about it that much. I think for me, I just more so like the mix.
Okay.
And then this is just how it's end up being set up.
I'm overthinking everything.
No, that's all right. I think I like having the options,
Yeah.
I
It's
can ride on this
dynamic range for
exactly.
sure. Cool.
Uh,
This thing too.
Yeah, so this is a 21-inch A Mega Bell ride, classic.
You can hear that bell like perfectly.
Yes.
I was backstage and I could hear every ping.
Yeah,
in perfect.
It's great. I love this thing. And not only is the bell, I mean, obviously the bell's amazing.
Yeah.
And funny thing about the bell is it's so big that whenever I do actually miss it, which happens occasionally, I feel really, really stupid.
Yeah.
You know, I go to hit it and I hit like this thing
Like,
or something.
how, bro?
I'm like, yeah, like what? Like, how did I miss that?
Yeah. And then you immediately like, I'm not sure I can be trusted with an 8-inch tom. I probably will
Yeah,
miss it.
exactly. Because I think this is an 8-inch bell. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, but yeah, the bell's great. But also, I mean, I think playing here it sounds amazing too. Very articulate and stuff. The only thing with these is they're not very crashable, you know. But it's like, you know, why would you want to crash on it anyway? So they kind of gives like a gongy, which I mean, I guess is a cool sound on its
Sure.
own.
Yeah, if you need an explosive every once in a while.
Exactly.
But then you have this thing,
Yes.
which is like, let's go.
This is the 19-inch ultra hammered China,
perfect.
which in my opinion, at least for metal, is the best China
It's
around.
the one.
Yeah, it's very, very sharp and articulate without getting too. Some Chinas have kind of like a very gongy sound, you know. That I mean, it can be cool if that's what you want, but when I'm like playing it over and over again, it gets a little bit too like blah blah blah. You know, and I want more of just a sharp kind of.
Yeah. This seems to be the one that band members veto the least.
Yeah.
Right? They're the ones that were like, all right, dude, the China, that's the one.
Yeah, you can't go
that
wrong
annoys me.
with that. It's very aggressive kind of sound, so I feel like
sure.
for aggressive music it works well.
Yeah, but it kind of anchors everything in the genre. It's kind of like that tone is so ubiquitous with what is kind of happening in the genre. It's like you almost need it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, most definitely.
And you also need little splashes for accents.
Yes. Yeah, right here we have the 8-inch A custom splash, classic, tried and true, and then this is a 12-inch. I believe they're called FX Trash Chinas now.
Okay.
Yeah. Love this thing. I use that thing a lot, especially like hitting it with the snare. I feel like it adds just a lot. Nice.
Yeah, I was seeing like some matched hit stuff, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I use that a lot for like accents, especially with the snare drum. You know?
Cool.
This episode is brought to you by KickBlock, the world's best bass drum stabilizer. Designed with custom ultra grip Velcro that firmly secures to your drum rug, you simply place KickBlock down to create an instant shock absorbing barrier that prevents your bass drum from sliding away while you play. The 6-ounce KickBlock is made of shock-absorbing foam that won't damage or scuff your kit and replaces pounds and pounds of sandbags. The pedal block takes care of your hi-hat stand and double pedal with the same gripping power. Pair these on the deluxe drum rug with weighted corners and patent-pending cable organization bands that wrangle your cables. You're good to go with non-slip rubber backing and a gig-ready carrying case. Lock down your entire kit over at kickblock.com. Use the discount code RUNDOWN10 for 10% off of your order now.
What are you smacking it with?
So I am using Vic Firth 2Bs.
All right.
Yeah.
Big thick boys.
Classic. Oh yeah, pretty big. I've kind of like you know, you mentioned I was from the marching world. So, and when you're doing marching, you're using pretty big sticks.
Yeah.
So when I went back to playing more drum set, normal, even 2Bs felt like tiny to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've kind of been downsizing. When I first got back into the drum set world, I used the Danny Carey signature by Vic Firth.
Okay.
And I like those because they have kind of like a fatter butt to it, you know, so it felt bigger in my hand. But I've been trying to get smaller and smaller. So I went from the Danny Careys to the Rocks, which are, I believe they're the same as the 2Bs, just slightly thicker. And then now I'm on 2Bs, and then who knows, in the future I might go down another size. So
yeah, I was gonna say, do you have a goal? Are you trying to get to 7A?
No, not 7A.
It's like gymnastics.
I don't think I can ever go that small, but it's, you know, because I still like big sticks, because I feel like with a heavier stick, I feel like in my, like not necessarily in my ears, but like in my brain, like there's a sound I'm going for.
Yeah.
So even when I'm using a smaller stick, I'm gonna hit harder to get that same sound. You know what I mean? So if I'm using a big stick, I don't have to hit as hard, and I'm hearing the volume that I want to hear.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm trying to mix my kit in my brain or in my own ears even without like actual in-ear monitoring. You know what I mean?
Sure. And I mean, there's so much balance and nuance in there. I mean, you're talking about, you know, conservation of motion.
Yes.
You're talking about like weight, and you're trying to burn down some pretty fast parts. So I feel like you need to get there.
Yeah, and that's the thing with heavier sticks, I don't have to hit as hard, so I feel like it kind of helps me to conserve energy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're heavier sticks, so that's also kind of burning some energy, you know? So it's a kind of, you know, trying to find that balance where it's like, is the stick doing the work that I want it to, or am I doing too much work to, you know, to make it happen? So
Right. Cool. What we didn't talk about are these kick pedals.
Yeah.
Man. They're getting it done.
So
Talk to me
these
about
are trick drums. They're the Black Widow, I believe they're called Pro 1V BigFoots is what they're called. Yeah, I love these things. I've used trick for, I don't know, like 7 years now. I had just the regular Pro 1V BigFoots before, and now I've switched over to the Black Widows. Honestly, they're the same pedals, just these just look, you know, cooler. A little bit of grip tape on the bottom there. I use that just to kind of, if I'm doing like heel toe stuff, to kind of dig my my foot in.
Just old skate tape trick?
Exactly, yeah, yes. Yeah, I think I just got this from like a skate shop or whatever.
Yeah.
I like it up here to be slick though, because I do single strokes and some swivel stuff too, so I like to have that freedom to kind of.
Okay, so you're kind of getting a little bit of both worlds there.
Yeah.
Grip when you need it, and yeah,
exactly.
Your stroke is you swivel.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah, I do everything. I play like with my whole leg sometimes. I play with my ankle sometimes. I play swivel sometimes. I play heel toe.
Is that just based on kind of like the pattern you feel?
Yeah, for me, it's
get it done.
The pattern, the speed. You know, I feel like if I'm playing slower, I have more control using my whole leg, you know?
Okay.
And then there's like medium tempos where I start to get my ankle involved. And then a little bit faster swivel, you know, and then even faster than that, like heel toe stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. My goal is to eventually just be able to do all swivel, you know, but that's progress, you know, or work in progress.
Yeah. And it's nice to see you kind of iterating and pushing forward and like challenging yourself. And, you know, that gets back to what we were talking about like what in deathcore is kind of challenging somebody that, you know, has come up through kind of a very, you know, trained kind of marching band drum corps background. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of awesome that you can, you know, keep yourself learning.
Yeah, for me, it's like, I just want to learn how to do everything, you know? It's like the drumming and the practicing is what keeps me going. You know, I don't really care too much about everything else. Like, I mean, obviously playing shows and stuff is cool, but it's like, even if I wasn't playing shows, I'd still be practicing. You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, that's what keeps me going, you know?
Yeah.
Plus it's like, you know, things like heel toe are a little more like trigger reliant. So that kind of like irks me, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to be super reliant on the triggers, even if I'm using them, right? You know, because it's like, eventually I'm not going to play death metal with triggers. So it's like, why do I keep, you know what I mean? Why keep like working on techniques that use the triggers where it's like, I'm kind of focusing on, what's happening now, but also like, okay, where am I going to be in like, you know, 20 years? You know, it's like, if I can rip fast singles, I can rip fast singles on any pedal, on any kit, you know, whereas it's like the heel toe, it's very like the triggers got to be set up right. The pedals have to be set up right. The head has to be tuned right. You know, it's very like reliant on the setup.
Right.
So.
Is there a piece of advice for the young drummers coming up?
Yeah, I mean, just get out there and do it. That's like the hardest part. You know, I feel like a lot of like transitioning both ways. I feel like a lot of people, like whether you're like a rudimental drummer wanting to play more drum set or a drum set drummer wanting to do more rudiment stuff, I feel like people kind of go like, oh, like they like immediately kind of put like a hindrance on themselves. Like, oh, I'm not good at that. You know, it's like, or like, oh, I can't play paradiddles or that rudiment stuff. I can just play grooves. You know, it's like, no, you just got to like do it more. Like what you practice is what you get better at. You know what I mean? Like no matter what it is. I mean, obviously, especially, I mean, you have to practice efficiently. You can't just like play for the sake of playing. But if you practice efficiently and you focus on it, you're going to get better at it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like my main advice is just like, don't kind of like sell yourself short and just like, you just got to get out there and do it. And I also try, for me, I still do this, but like, especially when I was first getting more into drum set, is I think about what I'm already good at, and then I try to apply that to other things. So whether that's like, okay, I already know like this paradiddle exercise that we played at the Blue Devils. Okay, how can I like move that around the toms? Or how can I make this pattern into a groove? How do I, like, I'm taking things I already know and trying to transition them into, you know, the drum set world. And that could work the other way too. It's like, okay, maybe I know this like groove pattern. How can I turn that into like a paradiddle thing? You know, where there's like some accent thing you like to do on the hi-hat. And maybe you try to fill that in with like rolls or diddles or, you know, whatever. So I think, you know, just trying to take what you're already good at and then applying that to whatever you also want to keep working on, I think is really good.
Well, that's super dope. And I'm glad that you bringing that ethos into the new era behind the kit here with Whitechapel. It's awesome. Looking forward to like what you get into in the next album cycles coming up, man.
Thanks, man.
And it's been a pleasure to see you out on the road. It was a great show last night. If you haven't seen Whitechapel, get out and see them as soon as humanly possible. This is their drummer, Brandon Zackey. I am Jared James. We'll see you on another rundown.